What is good, friendly ghost friendlies and non-friendlies? How is everybody doing? We got a lot to go over today. We have a new alpha test coming, which they said that people who were in the first one automatically get qualified for this one. So we back in it, baby. We're back in it, baby. And they said Toph is going to be in there, so that's going to be dope. So we're going to watch this trailer. I've seen it already, but we'll watch it back for prosperity, right?
You ready for a royal butt whooping, sad boy?
Alright, so you know the drill, you've been here before, you know how we get down. We're gonna watch it back, slow-mo, we're gonna analyze it, speculate rather, and just stop on whatever point I find interesting. I do want to say that, oh yeah, so I've seen there are some talking points, there's at least a couple of people out there who felt Toph's animations, her key poses and whatnot, the way that she attacks, or at least some of her attacks, don't really fit the character. Like, she's like on one leg sometimes and she's not very grounded. I did feel that way towards a little bit, not completely. I feel like more so than that. Watch it back, watch it and try not to pause it, right? Every other second. Okay, how do we feel about how are we feeling about the way she looks? Obviously it's hand drawn, but yeah, nonetheless, cool character, cool looking, cool, hand drawn art, pretty cool. But yeah, she starts off taunting, and this is her parry animation, by the way. So this is parry. No other character talks during their parry, and I don't know if this is trailer specific juice right here. This could just be trailer specific juice. Nonetheless, she didn't have to call Zuko a sad boy like that. Why'd she do that? Right, so that's parry. As long as you hold it down and they auto dodge attacks. You don't regain meter from dodging, you just continuously lose meter. So it's not like parry specifically. It's a similar concept, but it's quite different, right? It's not as is nowhere near as obnoxious as it is in SF6. But anyways, we'll get more on that later. So she's actively just talking, right? Out here with the mannerisms and the attitude of Gotenks out here. And I will say this. One thing, I don't really mind her animations. Like, I don't feel that way really at all about her animations not being too grounded or whatnot. But one thing I will say is that it struck out to me that they're portraying her as a bit of a character who's not taking it seriously, And that was something that jumped out at me more so than key poses or whatnot, right? Like this right here, they're jump heavy, which we have to point out that this did ground bound, neutral jump heavy. Like, that attack is okay, right? It's just okay. She has one that's on the ground that is a lot more goofy looking. But she's out here just straight up playing Mortal Kombat. We already got the Mortal Kombat comparisons and then neutral jump heavy. Or rather, just neutral jump button. ground bounce juggle combo starter. And right there, we notice this is her special move. She glows green throughout the trailer. And we've seen that at times they said that this is armor based on one of her specific supports. So hard not to call it a groove, but or a variation. But one of her supports is that she gets more armor. And so when she glows green like this, we can just safely assume that this is her armor, right? So she's going to be the armor character. Every character has some sort of gimmick around them, some sort of trait that try to make them unique or separate them from the rest of the cast. Zuko has his honor system where she does blah 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 easy councils from without spinning meter or whatever bullshit he's on. Korra has the avatar state and the avatar cycle. Aang has wind gliding shenanigans, and he gets a passive buff. Like one of his traits is that when you play him passively and you parry attacks instead of being offensive, he gets more meter, right? So they built it in that he's not trying to harm you to get more ammunition to harm you. To get more ammunition to harm you, you have to first not harm them. And Katara, I didn't play too much Katara. Yeah, I didn't play too much Katara, so I can't speak too much on her. But she does have healing, straight up healing, as you can possibly imagine it. But I haven't seen anybody abuse it. But she does have healing. So this is a special, and she glows right here. This is a meter burn off of a special move. And when it's a meter burn off of a special move, it means it's not costing you EX, it's costing you stamina, which is this, or rather, it's costing you chi, which is this game's stamina system. It recovers automatically. It's not the drive. You don't have as much as the drive. You don't have as much. You get only 4 bars. You only get 4 bars. So it's not as belligerent. And also just it's not obnoxious. But yeah, so this is spinning the stamina bar. It's easier to remember for me if I call it stamina bar or the flow bar, whichever one. Noted by the blue glow. That's how you know that it's spinning the other bar. And there's big penalties for when you lose all of your stamina. There's a big penalty for it, and we'll go over it after this. So she does a normal right here. Her normals it's kind of tricky to decipher them from specials. Also, I need to slow it down a bit more. This is going too fast. Okay, big slow-mo. So Korra is doing a run at her. Toph tries to check her, and she steps back. So I noticed that she has a stance in this game. The seismic sense, I believe it's called the seismic sense. So she has a seismic stance. She goes into that to launch her pillars. But what's interesting about it right here is it seems like she goes into it off of this whiff button right here. It seems like she goes into it or transitions into it off of the whiff button. Maybe it's a manual input, or maybe it's off of normal. But in either case, if this was a transition, it caught me off guard, because does that mean she can transition into stance off on whiff? Normally you have to connect either on block or hit, but she's doing it on whiff. Maybe it just recovers. She recovered that quickly. Yeah, she goes into seismic stance, pillar, side switches, pillar again, pillar hits on the ground, and then some sort of ender. Her dash rather, it seems like she has an Aang dash. In the alpha, there were different types of dashes. Mostly just Korra, Zuko, and Katara had a more traditional dash. They can dash at you, and they can cancel into crouch or into a button, or whatever. Aang, however, he had more of a hop, and he couldn't cancel out of his forward dash or his back dash, and so he's slower to perform actions out of his dashes because of this. And Toph looks like he has a hop instead of a more traditional dash. That's what it looks like, but we'll find out. That move right there, that's the move I was talking about looking goofy. The pick up the rock and spin and slam it. This one right here, I feel like if she just had the rock above her head and had her hands in a fist instead, it would look way cooler. And if he wasn't smiling like that, perhaps, but either or. Yeah, that's the move right there that I thought, like, oh, that's kind of goofy. It's like a simple combo. Again, seismic stance. See, EXs into seismic stance. That's an EX because you see the symbol behind her. That's what a regular EX looks like. It usually has the symbol of their element behind them. Big flash. That's something you get from spinning the chakra bars, or the chakra beads rather, and you have to build those up. EXs into stance. Gets into stance faster and on the ground, and she pulls them towards her. This is so cool. This stance, like, this is the coolest stance of Toph. Like, when I think of Toph, I think of this stance right here. Right, so I'm glad this is in the game, and I'm glad it seems like it's a centric part of her playstyle. Because all of these other moves, like, people talk about they don't like some of the animations about, it doesn't seem like too seriously or whatnot. I see all of that, and I think that the most centric part of her game plan is probably going to be this right here, going into stance. And so far, we've seen that she has at least... Is this the only move we've seen her do out of stance? The pillar? And then she has to pull. And you see the blue glow, that means it's costing her stamina to do this. She tries to grab. Jump heavy. That is so nasty. She just brings the wall to you. Like, it doesn't matter. She has such a unique... Okay, just let me shut up. And that's what I really like about this game so far. Each character feels so unique from one another. No one in the game is doing any of this right here. Like a gremlin playstyle. So she looks kind of slow, but she has armor because of that. And the boulder gives her armor out of flow. So that's toward and X. That's all this is. To do this is toward and X, and presumably a button after this. When you press a button out of flow or an attack button, you get an attack. Those count as special moves. I don't think they showed all of her specials because there's quite a few. You have your basic specials, then some characters have air specials, and then characters have specials out of flow on top of that, and then characters have follow-ups after their specials, and then of course you have the light, medium, and heavy variants, which some changes the animation, some changes the attack altogether. Like for Aang, his light, mediums, and heavies changes the attack completely, and then you have the EX version, which could be another move within itself. So I don't believe they showed all of her moves in this trailer, is basically what I'm saying. I don't think they did. So there's probably some cool moves from Toph you're expecting to see that they didn't show off yet. What the fuck was that? Okay, I've noticed a connection here. This has to be a special. And this is the heavy version of said special. Big wall carry. EX stance. At first I was thinking like, oh, so he has to wait for them to touch the ground and then she could summon the pillar because he has to feel where you're at. But I think, you know, they showed her like catching core out the air with one of them like at the start. So I think you just choose, you know, the weight of the attack and it chooses the distance. But we have not seen, I don't think we have seen the EX version of this yet. And also, what happens when, what time are we at? 33 seconds. What happens when instead of catching somebody with the pillar, and bringing the wall to them, bringing the corner to them, what happens when you summon a pillar and they're on the other side? You know, what happens if the pillar is between you and the opponent? Is it just like a, you know, a shield between you two? I just want to watch this combo again. This combo was cool. Hop over, stance again. Yeah, so that's the lighter version of that move. We've seen the heavy. So Badger Mole, better earth pillars. I don't know what this means. It looks like it recovers faster. I presume that's either like just it launches them higher or you recover faster, one of the two. That's what it looks like. Because now she's getting the follow-up combo off of that. And can we just look at this move right here? Can we just look at this? So that's her second move we've seen her do out of stance. Right? And I believe confirmation that you go into stance off of some normals. Looks like she gets a heavy. This looks like a heavy. But then again, all of her moves look like heavy because they're so chunky. Every time she hits you, the screen it's such a chunky hit. But she goes into stance off of that. There was no transition, right? It was a straight into it. There was no idle stance in between. Just directly into seismic. And can we just appreciate this right here? Can we just talk about how far she is away from core to have a low? Can we just talk about how far that is? And then as she goes back into stance, core jumps in the air, and she has an air grab. It's not unique to her. Every character has an air grab, at least thus far. But hers, she gets a combo out of it. And that's got to be the sickest change I think they've made since announcing the game, is they changed the level 1s to look like the intro, the opening. Right? That's got to be the sickest change. Can we talk about how she has a low that covers 5 body links? And who knows what else he has out of stance. Or I can see this being like the most dominant factor of Toph gameplay. She's out here playing a platformer in the fighting game. I definitely did not guess Hipple. I predicted that was going to be the boulder, the badger mole, and then I thought like maybe it'd be like a spirit vines, or I don't know, just a regular rock. So like better platform ride. I have no idea what this means, but it looks painful. This is a follow-up move. Ah, okay. I was going to say like, what's stopping you from just going up on a pillar and just running the time? Like, what's stopping you from just trying to lame somebody out? You know, if you could just summon a pillar and then go 50 feet into the air. But it seems like it's a follow-up after a special, which means it costs stamina to get to this. Right. So that's the special right there. Perhaps. And this is a blue spark. So this is going to cost you flow meter. Presumably. Right? And she's in the air while technically still being on the ground. So she's doing grounded combos in the air. She's doing grounded combos on you in the air. Can she jump again while she's in the air? And do you even want to? This is so beyond, I don't know what to make of this. I have no idea what to make of this. It just looks cool though. And then the level 3. Level 3 is cool. It's okay. It's not as cinematic as the others. I guess Zuko's is like that too. Aang and Korra have the big ultras. Korra and Aang have this like a big ass cinematic, like you start it up, you know, it takes you somewhere to outer space and doing some shit. You know, they have like specific supers. So maybe main characters only get the big cinematics. So yeah, oh yeah, one more thing about this. See, armored through that hit right there. So she's using Hipple. Or you know, she's using Boulder because he has armor out of flow. And she does a level 3 right out of it. Doesn't punish though. So before I forget, let's go into this part. Level or ultras. So when I was in the alpha test, pre-alpha test, I think it was the pre-alpha test. I don't know what they're doing this time, but it's another one and it's global. Sign up now if you get in. You know, you have a limited time to sign up. And you know, it's global. So good luck. So during out that 48 hours plus change, however long it was, that we played the alpha test, not one soul that I am aware of knew of this detail. Not one person, not me, not anybody else that I have ran into was aware of this detail. So I thought Ultras was doing the alpha test was kind of like a waste of meter, you know, because they cost all 7 of your bars, right? The beads. So that's your EX meter, super meter, the little beads, the chakra thing. The blue meter is your flow bar, stamina bar. It's called chi. But anyways, so because it costs all 7 to use your ultras, I was like, it doesn't feel like it's entirely worth it just for the extra damage. You know, like maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I just want to spend it on EXs and level 1s to get cores installed, get an avatar state. However, apparently level 3s or ultras had a function that makes them extremely useful. Not just extremely useful, but it adds an entirely new layer of depth to the game. So in this game, when you lose your stamina bar, aka your chi bar, the blue bar, when you lose this bar up here, you go into unbalanced state, which is this game's version of burnout. Your character turns gray. You lose your ability to do the fancy movement that Zuko's doing right now, you know, acting like a drug addict. You lose the ability to do all that stuff. Double jumps, faster runs, evasive maneuvers, the ability to you know, to do all the cool stuff. And of course, the follow-ups that you would get off of some specials, you lose the ability to do that because you don't have the bar to spend it. However, as I talked about in the past, when you go into unbalanced, you take counter hit on everything, you get hard knockdown on everything, which means you can't tech off, you know, characters teched off the ground automatically if they're like a juggle. They no longer do that automatically, so you're just vulnerable to just being into, they call it freeform combos. So if you go into unbalanced state, you are just basically screwed. The one silver lining here is that it doesn't last long, so you recover from it very fast. And it's not that easy to actually go into unbalanced, maybe as the game evolves, and you know, because maybe that's going to change. But it didn't feel like you went into unbalanced that frequently. It did happen, but it, you know, I didn't notice it too much. I'm definitely going to notice it now. But also get counter hit on throws, which they call it critical throws.
Set amount of time, you will become recentered. During unbalance, you cannot perform any actions using the flow button. While unbalanced, all hits become counter hits, with all knockdowns becoming untechable hard knockdowns. Additionally, all throws become critical throws. Due to all hits becoming counter hits, unbalanced state makes you susceptible to even more freeform combos from your opponent.
So yeah, that's like the trade-off. Because you can't tech off the ground, everything is a counter hit. It means, you know, you're taking big damage if you do get opened up, right? And also you don't have the ability to parry anymore. And anytime you get thrown, it's a critical throw, which you saw it leads to a wall bounce or some sort, or a combo state of some sort, and you get a big combo. Like I was able to get like 50% pretty easily off of a counter hit throw because it doesn't last long when you're unbalanced. So, you know, that's kind of the trade-off, where in Street Fighter 6, it lasts a bit of a while, right? But you get damage off of like blocking. You punish people for blocking. Here, you get punished for getting opened up. That's the difference. You don't get punished for blocking in this game. You don't get punished, right? Not in that sense. You get punished for getting hit. And when you get opened up, that is when you take the big damage. And you take big damage. You take big damage. Getting thrown out of parry in this game also leads to a critical throw. You take big damage. So big risks associated to, but this right here takes the cake. And I don't think anybody knew about this.
Lastly, getting hit by a true chakra art while unbalanced will cause you to instantly lose.
I've disappointed you.
Thanks for. Make sure to keep your chi gauges up by following us on our socials.
Did he say keep your chi gauges up? It's not the first thing I'm ever going to call it. You instantly lose the round if you get opened up with an ultra. That changes everything. You only get ultras if you lose a round, mind you. You start the match with 5 bars, and after you lose a round, you get all 7, right? So you only get all your ultras after losing a round. But regardless of that, if these are instant kills, if you have all 7 bars and you use your ultra on somebody who went crazy, who slurped too much juice, you just win. That's crazy. You know, so that's the dynamic that I think is interesting, right? Because you don't have a lot of time to try to open somebody up. You don't have that much time when they're unbalanced. So you have to make it count where you can make it count. You get big rewards when you do land something, but you have to be on point with your execution to be able to pay it off. And if you have the conditions met, you have your ultras stacked up. That means anytime you land a stray hit, a light, crouch light, overhead, anything you land, you can hit confirm it and just win the round. So that takes my opinion of this super, which I thought was, it's okay, it's alright, it's whatever, super is okay. You know, with that knowledge, I'm like, this shit is gonna kill. This shit is gonna kill you. That's a one-hit KO. Every ultra in this game is a one-hit KO if the conditions are met. So anyways, yeah, that's basically what I was getting at when I was making the distinction between Toph's moves, where this is a follow-up, but it's not EX. This is a stamina meter burn, you know, and pointing out which moves are which because of the threat that happens when you lose all of your stamina. That's why I was just kind of pick those apart, because there is a huge risk for spending too much, and that's pretty cool, right? Aside from the variations altering the character's game style and you know, all of these things, it's just so much to wrap your head around, right? And they said they're adding Toph into the new alpha test. I am going to practice Toph. Korra, love you, but you gotta hit the bricks, ma'am. We on to new, better pastures. We're going to Arizona. And yeah, that's just the way it's gotta be. What else we gotta look? Okay. I guess I'll make this a separate video. We'll talk about some of this stuff, but yeah, I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Let's go over Toph's support one last time before we end out. So in this game, you have 3 support characters, and they change significantly your play style, right? So this one is the boulder. It gives her armor. What this essentially could mean is that it encourages a more headstrong, you know, in your face type of play style. Bum rush you, you know, get the job done, but also a tank, right? When I think having armor on all of your flow moves, including your approaching moves, as shown right here, it brings up it's probably going to be used to sneak in some offense and you know, try to counter characters in that way. She's going to be rushing you down a lot more when she has her armored flow movement, right? And that encourages her being more in your face. And this is Badger mode, better earth pillars. I don't know exactly what this means, but from the example they showed, it seems like a much more of a tactical approach, like a stand in your place, right? Whereas the other one is kind of a bruiser, rush you down, armor, tank hits. This one seems like it's more tactical, stand your ground and bring them towards you. You're making them react to you, right, while bringing them to you at the same time. Yeah, potentially this one is, you know, you're picking them apart from a distance. Potentially. The last one is for the platforms. Better platforms. I don't know what to make of this one. I have no idea. I have no idea what this one is for, right? It's the oddball. Who knows what potential it has, but it is doing something. I have no idea what to make of that. It's very easy to make something out of these two. This one seems like it's going to be one that people gravitate towards because it's so in your face about it, right? This is a play style that people who might not like her offense in this game from the trailer, the people who, you know, few people that I've seen, they probably won't like this version. And this version is probably more up their alley, whereas, you know, you're picking them apart with pillars. Perhaps a heavy, because the pillars are from the seismic stance. I hope I've been saying this right the whole time. Because pillars are part of the seismic stance, this means this is just a big buff to her seismic sense. Basically, this is the seismic variation, is what this is saying. So if you want Toph to have her buffed seismic sense, the Badger Mole is the version of Toph you would pick. In theory, if you wanted to be a bruiser or a wrestler, you would pick the boulder. If you want to pick people apart from a distance and use the seismic sense and play the Toph that you probably envision her to be, it's probably Badger Mole. Would automatically give you what you want. You still have to perform, but it gives you the tools that you need to excel in what you want. And better platform. I don't know what this means. I don't even know what this is for. It seems like it's just for combo potential. That's what it seems like. I can't think of anything else this would be used for. And every time she goes into it, it's a follow-up after her projectile. Which means she's spending flow meter to do it each time. Right, projectile spends flow, burns flow meter to go into it. EX seismic. Projectile spends more flow to go into it. So that's a 2-bar of flow combo potentially. You know what it probably is? Sometimes a variation will just reduce the cost of a move. Like if a move costs 2 bars, it would turn it down to 1 bar instead. Right, so this could be giving her a reduction in cost, and this probably increases her combo damage is probably what this is. And it probably has another overarching buff to it, like reduces for cores, he has one, and it reduces her cost on her EX moves on something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's also some underlining buff also attached to this. Also, this right here, I didn't mention it, but I'm pretty sure this right here where she's pulling everything towards you is her flow, and presumably it's her crouching flow. So every time she crouches and does her crouch flow, it seems like she's doing the elevator. Let's watch it back with volume. Oh man, this game it's so neat. This game is so neat. We should also do character predictions. I'm just afraid of making character predictions and being accurate, and then them being like, hey, IT. We noticed that you got into alpha test. You ain't out here hacking, are you? You ain't out here hacking. And I'll be like, I don't even know how to hack, man. And they like, guilty as charged, right? So I don't want to be guessing and then be accurate, and then get accused or something. Because I have a pretty good idea of how they're going to introduce characters, right? I have a pretty good notion on what characters are likely to get in.
You ready for a royal butt whooping, sad boy?
Badger Mole, also, since it is an overall just a seismic buff, perhaps, is also gets you into the stance faster. Yeah, so the carpet elevator or whatever. That right there is her doing flow. And it brings me to another point. Even though I think Toph is potentially going to be the stance character of the game, Qatar is another stance character, kind of. However, to that point, every character in this game is a stance character, because the flow system means every character has a stance. You have the forward, you have the crouching, and you have the retreat. Some characters also have a jumping version of it, and some also have air versions of it. And through a lot of these, at least 2 of these functions, they have a special move attached to it. Yeah, every character is technically a stance character with that in mind, because the system is a stance. Yeah. So Toph just has an additional stance stacked on top of it, and is also mixed more into her gameplay, right? Like, it's directly leading into like affecting more than just herself.